Sometimes you need to leave well enough alone. Something that's working well enough. Sometimes it's just best to leave it alone. I'm talking about how before everybody was talking about how Pro Tools is not this and Pro Tools is not that, and how different apps or DAWs, MPC, Fruity Loops, Ableton, Cubase. They were talking about how all of this stuff is a better choice over Pro Tools, and it may be for you, and that's good. But what I'm seeing now is that after I've been working on Pro Tools for years, I mean, I've tried the others and I've messed around with them, and I might still do some production in them, but I don't mix in them at all. Maybe you can't get a good mix out of them. I haven't found a way to do that yet. I just like what Pro Tools does, and what it sounds like. And matter of fact, I found out that you can actually change different sounds by different meters in Pro Tools. I got to try that too. But people are complaining about how a certain version of their MPC is not working, or they're having a problem with it. Sometimes you just need to leave well enough alone. Sometimes all those updates just are not, maybe your machine's not ready to be updated. You get what I'm saying? Maybe your MPC is good the way it is. It works. You don't have any problems out of it. And then when you go to update something or you want to change something, maybe you should have left well enough alone. I was just watching a video. A gentleman says that he got the MPC in there and they did all those updates, and now the screen is not working correctly or something. I don't know. More than likely, it's a user problem. I'm not going to say that the companies don't, they're not liable for the problem or whatever, but sometimes it's a user problem. You want all these things in that standalone unit. It's a standalone unit, but you're trying to treat it like a computer. And so when you put all those updates in there, all those plugins in there, all those this in there, you got to add this, you got to add that, put a hard drive in there, you got to change it, you got to try it this way and do that. Sometimes it's just better to get to work. Get to work and stop trying to update your equipment. If it works, it works. You know what? You'll never see me on here complaining about what's not working for me. You know why? Because all my stuff works. It works. I have is it ISFA, the S2400? That works. I don't have no problem out of that. One, because I don't go do all those updates. I don't go and do all those changes. It just works. That drum machine is a great drum machine. Matter of fact, that S2400 is one of the best built machines out there within this last 10 years. It just is. You know how people talk about the MPC 3000 is a well-built machine, the 60s 60s is a well-built machine. The 4000 is a well-built machine. That's just what it is. Once you find a well-built machine, it's supposed to be a machine. It's a standalone. Stop adding all that stuff to it. It works the way it works. It works. All of my stuff works. My Pro Tools, I just updated that, and it works. You know why I updated it? Because all my updates beforehand have worked. I wait a few sessions or wait a few updates, and then I go to that one. They might have an update here, an update there. I'll wait, and then they have a third one there. Okay, then I'll try that one. They would have worked out all the bugs and the kinks on those prior two updates. I don't need a whole lot. I just need to be able to record the audio, mix the audio, bounce the audio, or send the audio out. That's all I need. I got more plugins than I know what to do with, and I only use 5 or 6 of them every single time I mix, every single time I do a production. I leave well enough alone. My stuff works so that I can work. What good is it to do all those updates and you can't work? Or people are trying to stay in the creative process when you got to go and fix stuff. Dear Lord, help us. I'm telling you, I have no complaints about any of my stuff working. Any of it. I have old stuff. I have brand new stuff. Once I get it working the way I want it to, where I have it set in my studio the way I want it to be connected, and everything is doing what I want it to do, I leave it alone. I don't go do all those updates. Sometimes you will have to do a couple updates. But when you do the update, be prepared. You might have to go back down to the prior update that you were using. But it was amazing to me how everybody was like, oh, Pro Tools can't do this and Pro Tools can't do that. And then they go and get all the new stuff and they can't get it working. He sat there and said, yeah, my hard drive's not working right and this, that, and other. My old hard drive worked right. And then he proceeded to say, hey, if you need gear, go to my, like, bro, I don't trust you knowing to buy your own gear. But anyway, hey, man, it's to each his own. It's just amazing to me how my stuff still works, no matter how old or how new it is, and I don't have any complaints. But most of the time you look on here and you see people complaining about this and complaining about that. This don't work, that don't work, and we don't have this and we don't have that. You know, you can always do it yourself. You can make it yourself. You could always make it yourself and not even worry about the company making it for you or creating it for you. Go do it yourself. Go do the background on it. Go do it yourself. You can. And I just don't like it when people complain because they're not, 9 times out of 10, they're not the one at the company creating this stuff. They're just having these great ideas. Oh, we should have this and we should have that and we could have this and we can have that. Go do it yourself. Engineer it yourself. There are a lot of engineers out there who are doing it. I forget what the young man's name was. He started out mixing and all of that. Now he's making his own or looking into making his own devices, his own preamps, his own compressors. He's doing it. But why is everyone else just complaining about, this is not that, and this we can't do this and we can't do that? If I were a company supplying a service or supplying a piece of equipment to people who complained all the time, trust me, it'd be hard for me to keep supplying equipment to them. They got to complain about everything. About everything. Well, again, sometimes you need to leave things be. If it works well, leave it alone. Leave well enough alone. Because if you don't, all you're going to do is sit there and be frustrated. That was the main reason why when I first started out, I would use PC IBM computers or IBM-based computers. And I found myself always trying to take this card out and put that card in. Maybe this will work better, and trying to fix this and try to fix that. I mean, they're great now. They're just as well as Apple or anything else. A lot of these computers are just strong, just wonderful. But back then, 20 years ago, I stayed away from P. I just stopped. I said, you know what? If you want to work, get a Mac. And I went and got a Mac, and I started working on Mac. And the only time I changed out anything on the Mac was like when I wanted more memory or something like that. But for the most part, I ordered the computer the way it is. I want that memory in there. When I order it, I want it to be like that. Or if I buy a computer, I want the memory already to be in. I might change some hard drives or something like that. But for the most part, they're turnkey operation. Turnkey operation. If you're a producer and you don't have a turnkey operation, you're not going to be producing long because you're going to be frustrated. And people that you're inviting to be a part of your production or whatever going to be frustrated with you too. Well, you got to reboot the computer again, like we used to do ADATs. You got to reboot. Take the wind out of your sail. Take all the production out of you. You're going to be sitting there frustrated, and you don't have to be. But hey, man, you go ahead and do all those others. Because see, I consider MPC as a production tool, just a tool. I figure Fruity Loops, that's a production tool for a certain sound. Ableton, that's a production tool for a certain sound. Studio One, that's a production tool. I mean, they got great things in it, but I know what Pro Tools does. And if I use any of those other pieces of equipment, all I'm going to do is operate it as if I'm in Pro Tools. I'm just going to operate like that. I know it's connections here. I know this is where the inputs, outputs. I know this is how you add the plugins, and then I go from there because all the plugins are going to look pretty much the same. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to sit there and complain. Not going to do it. It just works. The stuff works. The way I have my stuff set up, it just works. Just works. Yeah, I had to get on here for that. The gentleman went through that whole thing of complaining. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of producers complaining about certain things not working in their studio as far as it's supposedly an update or it's new. And they were the main ones talking about how Pro Tools ain't got this and Pro Tools ain't that and this, that, and other. But then the next week they're on talking about how MPC's not this and MPC's not that. MPC is just fine. Akai is just fine. It does well for me. I got the application online. I mean, I have it inside of Pro Tools. I can do it standalone or do it inside of Pro Tools, and it still works. But you just have to know what you're listening for. You just have to know what you're listening for. Like when I use it inside of Pro Tools, it sounds great. It sounds just like the standalone. But then when I go to, it's like a way you can highlight the MIDI notes and drag them down to an audio track, and it will turn those MIDI notes into audio. Well, when I do that, it don't sound good at all. So instead of me converting it from MIDI to, or instrument track into an audio track, I just leave it as an instrument track because it sounds better. No need to complain. It just sounds better there. But it is so funny to me to see these people talk about Pro Tools ain't this and Pro Tools ain't that. And they get right back on and say, well, my stuff ain't working though. They talking about how wonderful their stuff is, and it don't work. It don't work. They spend more time trying to fix their equipment than actually working on the song or working on the production. I couldn't sit there dealing with that. I have to get to work. I can't be sitting up there. And I work on Pro Tools generally 8 to 10 hours a day, working on music, working on ideas, working on songs for people, fixing songs for people, mastering songs for people, mixing songs for people. But it's just funny how people talk about how something's not working. Or no, they talk about how something's not good enough or it's not the standard anymore, but yet their stuff's not working. It makes no sense in the world to me for you to get on here. Well, I know what you're doing. I know that they're trying to make money with their YouTube. That's good. I don't make any money off YouTube. I can't because I don't have the charisma cadence to get people to do things. I just don't have that. I put these videos up because it's something. Now I know there are other people out there that's just like me who are wanting to see and talk about these things and notice these things. So I'm not necessarily trying to make money with my YouTube. That's not it. I put YouTube on there for me. If other people like it, that's great. If they don't view it, that's fine. And also, don't think that because you have 1 or 2 views or 5 or 6 views that nobody's watching it. People are watching it. People are getting a hold of what you're doing. You're just not in the number yet. You're not in the group yet. When you're in the group, then you make those numbers, I guess. But I'm not worried about the group because I'm working. I'm not worried about the group. I'm working. I'm sitting there going, man, how long does it take you guys to do all them videos and chop them down and edit and put the audio in and add this and put the color corrections in there and get the camera set? And man, about all that, you could be working on the song. You could be working on the song and be finished with the song. Release the song. But hey, man, everybody can't just do songs. Some people got to do video and build their video channel. I guess if I had a video that went viral or something like that, I guess I'd have to ride the train too, maybe. I don't know. But I know one thing. Even if I never get on the train, if I never get a viral video, my studio works. And it's mine. And I can go in at any given time of the day and stay as long as I want, and it works. I don't have to sit around trying to figure out why something's not connecting or why this isn't working. If I have anything that doesn't work, I turn it off, turn the whole system down, turn it off, and turn it back on, and it's working. As a matter of fact, today, I got on there today. I said, man, my hard drives aren't there. Huh. I'm looking on my desktop. I don't see all my hard drives. Okay. Well, I go to open up Pro Tools. Pro Tools is there. It opens up fine. I'm looking for all my recently opened sessions. Grayed out. I said, wow, wait a minute. Let's go ahead and turn this off and turn it back on. Turn it off, turn it back on. Everything's working again. And I have pretty much all of those other apps or DAWs that people are talking about. But Pro Tools works. It just gets on my nerves to see people get online talking about how something's not as good as something else, and then their stuff's not working. Their stuff isn't working, yet you're talking to me about what I need to do. Your stuff's not working. I couldn't trust that. Couldn't trust that. Couldn't trust it. So sometimes you better leave. It's best to leave well enough alone. I mean, it's like that everywhere. Let's say you see somebody else has a wife. I wish my wife was like her. You better leave well enough alone. You trying to go and find another wife like somebody else. And if you really knew what was going on behind the scenes, you'd be running back to your wife. Same thing with the husband. If you're looking for, I want a husband like that. You mess around and see behind the scenes and you run back to your husband who ain't doing everything that you wanted to do, but he works. Maybe some things y'all supposed to do together as opposed to what he's supposed to do or supposed to what she's supposed to do. Maybe you guys are supposed to do it together. That's what I do with my computer. I make sure that I don't add nothing to it that's going to keep it from working. I don't add anything to it that's going to keep it from working. I just let it work. Yeah, it was Young Guru who did that. Young Guru, he was developing his own compressors or preamps or something. He's not waiting for somebody else to do it. He's not waiting. I don't wait for people to do it. You know, nothing gets done waiting for somebody else to do it. His name came back to me because I was talking about before how certain people are not waiting for somebody else to give them what they want. If they want something, they're going to go study that thing and then make it themselves. If Rupert Neve can do that, you can do it. If Clearon can do it, you can do it. And if Young Guru can do it, you can do it. Amen. I don't know the guy personally. I'm just telling you. He's the one out there trying to create something else. He says, what did he say the other day? As far as like food, right? If you have salt and pepper, right? That's good. And generally you can get away with that. But what about the paprika? What about all these other spices in between? Well, he's saying, well, we have Neve and we have Burl, what about all the other tones in between there? That's true. And so he's not waiting for somebody else to create it. He's creating it himself. Do the background on it and study it and do it. You can do the same thing with your husband or your wife. Do the background and help them be the best that they can be. Not what you want them to be. Be the best that they can be. Because after all, you're married to them. They're responsible to you and you're responsible to them. Sometimes it's best to leave well enough alone. That's in life. That's in your doll. That's in your mixing. Sometimes you have to call it quits. Certain things just aren't going to get no further than where you can take it. Maybe somebody else can take it further, but you can only bring it so far. You can only bring that master so far. You can only bring the performance so far. You can only record so well. But you got to know when to call it. You know, I can't go any further. I'm going to leave it the way it is. It's going to work like that. That's how it's going to work. It's going to work good. And I want to be satisfied with what I have. If I had anything to say to most producers, be satisfied with what you have. Create and be creative. But take that one. Listen, these people who are talking about how Pro Tools is not this, that, and the other, I guarantee you they're only using 10% of the DAW that they're using. They're not using the whole thing. They're only using 10% of it. Matter of fact, they might be using 5%. Out of all the things those DAWs can do, they're only using it for their 5%. And that's fine. Stay there. Do that. Make sure it does it well. But don't go do all them updates because it'll stop working. Hey, man, it is what it is. All right, I'm out.